Well, welcome, Dr. Amarachi.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Hello.
Hi, Dr. Amarachi. Very nice to meet you.
Yeah, same here. Thank you so much.
Hello, Amarachi. Good
Ah,
to see you.
Boluwatifto.
You don't they do well. You don't they do well. Good to see you. How's everything going?
Very well, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome, Ali.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. It's 1700 hours. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and everywhere maybe at the moment. As we all know, today is 8th of March 2026, and it's a day to celebrate the great gender women. Today being International Women's Day, so we deem it fit to celebrate the women in the water sector, especially knowing that we have people doing well. And just as Professor Grace Oluwasonya of the United Nations University mentioned, leadership has no gender. Leadership has no gender. We believe that we have female genders doing well in the water sector and in other sectors across the world. So there is need to celebrate, and also knowing that the forthcoming World Water Day on the 22nd of this month still talks on water and gender. So, and if we look at very well, the female gender, when it comes to decision making and getting to that table, a lot of times there is a neglect. Dr. Boluwaji is here on the call. I remember last year we had a conference online where he needed to talk about the neglect and the proportion of women in the sector. So there is more to discuss today, and I believe that at the end we'll be able to learn one or two lessons, a lot of lessons from the panelists on what to do better and how we can have the females also. The females are thriving, but the system we need to do more, encourage the people in the policy in order to do more in this sectors. Once again, I need to welcome everyone of us. Here I have on the call this moment our panelist, Dr. Oluwaji on is the head of the Feminine Watch. We have Dr. Marachi. Please, Ibukun Olaniyan, kindly mute yourself. I'll do at my hand. Thank you, I have done that. Dr. Marachi Oyema, we are glad to have you. And the third panelist we have today is the pioneer of the Nigerian Youth Parliament Water, Big Boss Oluwatito Awe. Here on the call, we have the president, the present president of the parliament, Mr. Kabiu Atobatile on the call, the vice president, and the person of Cynthia also on the call. We have other team members, Abdurrahman Aliyu, call with us. We have Opeyemi and myself, Timothy Adekono, who happens to be the head of communication and innovation. So once again, thank you for coming. So I will hand over to the president to give his welcome address.
Thank you, Mr. Timothy. Can you please confirm if you can hear me, Mr. Timothy?
We can hear you.
Yes, very well, sir.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you. Distinguished speakers, our respected partners, colleagues, and passionate young water professionals joining us across Nigeria and beyond today. I'll say good afternoon from Nigeria and from wherever you are joining us from. Hold the greeting in the time that you belong to. So on behalf of the Nigerian Youth Parliament for Water, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all on this special webinar commemorating the International Women's Day 2026 under the theme, which we have all been aware of, Give to Gain. And at the Nigerian Youth Parliament for Water, we coined this theme to further elaborate our women, the leadership, and impact. And today we have gathered here to celebrate women and the powerful truth behind their existence. It is established from ancient time that women lead. When women lead, societies prosper. And when this particular gender is empowered as well, communities become more resilient. And more importantly, when they participate fully in water governance, sustainability becomes more achievable. It has been an outcry across Nigeria. Women remain at the front line of water stewardship. Why? Because they are forced to feel that impact of water scarcity, sanitation challenges, and climate stress that we all experience in this time. And yet, despite their immense contributions, women are still underrepresented in leadership, policy design, technical decision making, within the water sector generally. And this, among many other reasons, has made today's conversation important to everyone. The Nigerian Youth Parliament for Water, believes that meaningful progress in achieving SDG 6, which is clean water and sanitation, cannot happen except we have this part of the SDG goals, which is SDG 5, which says gender equality. Water and gender are deeply interconnected. When women are empowered to lead the water sector, just like I said earlier, we unlock solutions that are more inclusive, more innovative, and more sustainable. The theme for this year, International Women's Day, Give to Gain, speaks to the transformative power of investing in women through mentorship, opportunity, recognition, and leadership spaces. When society give women these supports, platforms, trust, they deserve the returns, which are immense, which includes stronger institutions, healthier communities, and more sustainable water systems. Today events serve as a platform for dialogue, inspiration, and reflection. We are privileged to host these distinguished women leaders, which we are having here today. The person of Ms. Boluwati Tuawe. It's really a pleasure to have you again here today. Our own friend and senior colleague, Dr. Amarachi Oya. We are pleased to have you as well. And our mother, which we have in our midst, Dr. Boluaji Onobolu. This set of speakers, are set of individuals that we need as women in society today. That's why the team and I have looked into the set of speakers bringing here, which we are lighting up these amazing speakers for us today. So, to the young women and emerging professionals joining us today, I encourage you to see this space as one of your empowerment space. And the future of water governance needs your voice, needs your innovation as well, and as well need your leadership. So here, we remain committed to building inclusive platforms that amplify youth voices, support women in leadership, and strengthen collaboration across generations to ensure sustainable water management for Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. So I would like to sincerely appreciate our speakers for honoring our invitation, our organizing team, which our moderator would elaborate on them later. I think he has mentioned us before. These are a strong team that has been behind this and committed, and this renewed determination has built the water sector today, and it all starts from this team where women are not only included. We empowered to lead and transform our society. And once again, I welcome you all to the International Women's Day 2026 webinar hosted by the Nigerian Youth Parliament for Water. So welcome as we have this conversation. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Timothy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdikabiyu Atobatele, for that opening remark. All right, not to waste our time, we shall have the Vice President, Mr. Abdurrahman, please introduce the panelists we have today before we have a discussion.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. On this International Women's Day, I am deeply honored to be here, not just to celebrate women, but to challenge us to think differently about leadership, equity, and the burden of water in our communities. Because water sustains life, it is also women who often sustains the water systems around us. When people ask me why I chose to work in water, my answer always takes me back to my childhood in northern Nigeria. Growing up, clean water was never something we assumed would always be there. I didn't fully understand it at the time, but I remember the care with which every drop was collected and stored. Water was precious. It shaped how we lived, how we planned our days, and how we valued something many people took for granted. Those moments stayed with me, and then they made me realize that access to safe water isn't just an environmental issue. It is a dignity issue. It's a health issue and a community issue. And years later, these moments quietly guided me towards the path I walk on today, working to ensure that access to clean water is not a privilege, but a reality for every community. Let's think about it. If tomorrow morning, every tap in your home ran dry, who would fill it first? Who would adjust their schedule first? Who would carry the containers, rearrange their day, and absorb the disruption quietly? In many parts of the world, the answer is clear. It is women, it is girls, not because they want to, but because someone has to find water. Across communities, women and girls spend countless countless hours fetching water, managing household water needs, and absorbing the health consequences of unsafe water. Have you ever noticed who is holding the buckets in your community? And have you ever noticed who is holding the microphone when the water policies are discussed? That gap, that silent gap, is what we are here to confront today. As we commemorate the International Women's Day, we celebrate water as life. But in Africa, water is not just life, it is time, it is labor, it is education, and it is opportunity. We have normalized women as managers of water at the household level, but not as decision makers at the governance level, and that must change. If women are the first to feel water scarcity, they must not be the last to influence solutions. This is not about replacing one voice with another. The truth is, we need both men and women. We need women at the decision-making table, and we also need men to see allyship not as weakness, but as leadership. In Africa, we talk about community, we talk about collective responsibility. So why should water governance be different? Men could advocate for inclusive leadership when women are not present. Men could also mentor young female engineers in the water sector. Men could ensure that funding and opportunities are not gate-kept, because inclusive leadership is not charity, it is strategy. Let us move towards structural change. Let us ensure that women who carry the buckets can also carry the briefcases, that the girls who fetch water today can design water systems tomorrow, and that the men in the room see partnership as power, because Africa's water future will not be secured by infrastructure alone. It will be secured by inclusive leadership. And that responsibility begins with us all. Today, we have an inspiring group of women whose journeys, experiences, and insights reminds us that women are not just beneficiaries of water solutions, they are the architects of them. Our conversation today will explore leadership, policy, mentorship, and the future of gender equity in water governance. One key takeaway from today's session should be that investing in women's leadership today creates a more resilient water future for tomorrow. Thank you once again for joining us, and I'm looking forward to a successful deliberation. Mr. Timothy, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cynthia, for that wonderful piece. So water is labor, water is time, and inclusive leadership isn't charity. There is need to support that female child, not just to sit there as a man. There is need to raise the voices of every female in order for them to have impact in this sector. Because that young child can have impact and design the system tomorrow. All right, thank you very much. Now to Mr. Abdurrahman, I would like you to introduce the panelists as we go into the discussion we have for this evening.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Timothy. Thank you, Cynthia and Kabir, for your previous talk. There's something that Cynthia mentioned regarding the co-lead in the sector, which is, I think, one of the reasons why I am also here to co-lead the panel discussion. Firstly, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Amarachi Pasherina Oyena, who is a marine scientist whose focus is on protecting water resources and strengthening environmental sustainability in coastal communities. Her research examines pollution, ecosystem health, inclusive environmental governance, and she's quite passionate about advancing sustainable water management and empowering women in leading environmental decision making globally. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. And then we'll have Dr. Boluwaji Onabolu, who is a public and environmental health professional with over 26 years of experience in the waste sector, spanning across Africa and Asia. She has supported governments and development partner to drive inclusive, resilience, and accountable waste system. She has worked with various international developmental bodies such as the UNICEF to co-develop wash strategies and lead multi-million-dollar donor-funded projects program, which included or integrated gender and human rights into sector policy. She holds a PhD in water resource sector, water resource science, and her passion lies in the intersection of WASH, gender, and climate justice. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation, ma'am. And our final speaker, or our final panelist, is Mrs. Bolowatito Awe, who is the founder of the Nigerian Youth Parliament for Water, which is just the previous president who handed over to this administration. And then she's a seasoned strategic communication professional with several years of experience in the non-profit sector. Today she works as a head of the strategic communication at a leading PR and communication agency, where she blends her passion for social impact with strategic storytelling and corporate excellence. She has been a very strong support for us as a leadership for the Nigerian Youth Parliament for Water. And we keep calling upon her, and I hope she won't be tired of always coming to our discussions. Thank you so much for always responding to us and coming to this discussion. Yeah, I would like to start the panel session with just asking each of the panelists about what actually led them, because we had Cynthia talking about what led her, what inspired her, or what motivated her to the water sector. I would just like to hear your just a short, brief introduction regarding what actually propelled you into the water sector. I will start with Dr. Amarachi. If you can please unmute and then.
Okay. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Yeah, thank you so much for this great opportunity to discuss how my journey has been. It's still a journey in progress. Okay. So, yeah, I have always tried to look at the environment, and most times when I see environment and how it's being littered and all that, so it's always like a mindset, like how can we help the environment? So that encouraged me to pursue a master's degree. And I realized something very clear, that water and environmental pollution they were not abstract problems. They were urgent, measurable, and they are already shaping people's life. So I chose to do marine pollution and management because I could see the evidence in the environment, and I wanted to understand the pollution, and how in a way that could support solutions. Then I had the experience that truly changed me when I started working in the Niger Delta, part of Nigeria, where life looked completely different from where I was coming from. So I remember standing near mangrove areas and seeing oil traps in places that could have supported life. I saw bare soils with oil sediments, and also along the coastline. So you could see the oil sheen and a lot of artisanal refinery. You could smell it. In that moment, pollution stopped being a topic to me. It became a reality. So what even made it even more clearer was that I spoke to a lot of communities around there, and these are communities whose livelihood depended directly on healthier water, their fishing, their shellfish harvesting. So I spoke with some women who even told me that finding seafood were something you would assume that should be abundant in that coastal environment was very difficult. So that stayed with me. So I kept asking myself, how do families survive in that environment? How they rely on contaminated water and natural resources declining. So that was a defining shift for me. So I understood that water is not just an environmental issue, it was a dignity issue. So it affects children's health, women's livelihood, and household stability, and the future of entire communities. So that was where I decided to pursue my PhD, so I could generate strong evidence of how pollution alters ecosystem health and what that means for people and sustainability. Then joining the NYLPW, the parliament, I also understood that water quality is the foundation of safe sanitation outcomes. So that when surface water and groundwater are polluted from all of these resources, they can actually, the sanitation systems will also struggle and public exposure increases. So that was what launched me into trying to define all of this. So the second defining moment was when I recognized that my voice could actually travel beyond my environment, beyond my immediate environment. So I felt a responsibility to make sure that what is happening in the Niger Delta was not just invisible. So I began collaborating, presenting in different conferences and speaking on platforms and engaging with international training spaces. So I realized that local water challenges deserve global attention, and African women must be visible to shape solutions and not just receiving them. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think one of the part that really struck me was when you said the pollution became a reality for you. So I think you could actually see the visible effect of the pollution in the environment. Yeah, and it's quite interesting for me. I would like to go to the next speaker, Mrs. Sorry, Dr. Bolowaji Bolu.
Oh, yes, thank you very much. I think it was the Vice President that emphasized the issue of allyship or allyship, and that it's not women displacing men, or it's not women displacing men, or yeah, it's more about a partnership. So when I was about to do my master's, when I finished youth corps, I knew that I wanted to do something in development, but I really hadn't thought about water. My professor, a male, actually was the one that stirred me into the direction of water and sanitation in particular. And whilst doing my master's in public health, I saw firsthand, because it's a practical research project. It was a practical one, apart from all the literature, but also seeing with your very own eyes the fact that what we say is life, water is life, is actually a vehicle of disease for too many people. We take a glass of water for granted, but for too many people, it's a vehicle of disease, a vehicle of lost opportunities, lost educational opportunities, lost income generating opportunities, avenue of all kinds of diseases. So that's how my interest in water and sanitation, and also then my professional development, really studying water and sanitation, the various components, community entry, what actually is water, what is sanitation, the science behind it. And then for my PhD, I then delved into water resource science at a greater level. And I was responsible for the water quality issues in Bangladesh. So in a nutshell, seeing how, for example, in Bangladesh, that has the highest population of people in the world exposed to arsenic through water, through food. Arsenic has no color, it has no smell, it has no taste. Yet it is carcinogenic. It has terrible health implications, terrible social implications. So that's what fostered my interest and my professionalism and my passion. And also the issue of gender, which, today is International Women's Day. Quite a number of the members or the executive committee members of the Youth Parliament, National Youth Parliament, have spoken, about the importance of women making decisions, being part of the decision making. I saw quite a number of International Women's Day greetings today, even in our sector, and they're still speaking, they're still talking about giving access to wash to women. Do you see that? They're still seeing women. They're still seeing, these people are still seeing themselves as the gatekeepers, and they're still seeing women as, people to receive, not as co-creators. So I'll stop here. These are some of the issues, these are some of the gaps, these are some of the implications. I want to emphasize that it was through my professor, a male professor, that I actually got into this field. Thank you.
Oh, that's interesting, because like for you to, the professor really, I think, pushed you in that direction, and he made it something worthwhile, and we are now having you on the panel, which is really great. Yeah. And also when you talked about giving access to women, it's really, I think it really struck a chord, in the sense that we're supposed to be somewhere past giving access to actually them being in the stage there. Yeah. I would like to hear from Boluwatito. Let me hear your own perspective of how you came into the sector and what launched your career into the waste sector.
Thank you so much, Aliyu, and hello again, everybody. Happy International Women's Day. So for me, it's more a personal or a lived experience, or my lived experiences, that made me get into the sector. I am not a trained water professional. However, growing up, I've had issues with water access, menstrual hygiene management, health, and access to things generally that, I thought these things were normal. Okay, that's how it should be. But then I started being exposed to other realities and seeing that these things were not normal. It's not normal to not have, pipe-borne water running through your house. That's not supposed to be normal. It's not supposed to be a normal thing where, as a growing girl, I couldn't afford to buy menstrual hygiene products, and several times I might have to not go for classes, because I wouldn't obviously be comfortable. And it wasn't normal that I had to struggle to, or be conscious of wanting to defecate or not wanting to, do certain things because you're afraid that, I don't want to, I have to go to the loo around where I was. And it turned out that these things weren't normal, but it was the reality for a lot of people growing up. And it just started as conversations. So there wasn't one big defining moment. It was like a build-up for me over the years. And every of my friends, they all know, even all the males all the men in my life, they say that everything they know about women, they knew from Tito, because you can't say you are my friend and you don't know that. Of course, they are family members, they have mothers, they have sisters, but everything is hush hush, taboo, don't talk about it. And I had to let them know, you have these things are the realities, and it helps you to understand how to better, support the women in your lives, for example, how, you can carry out open urination, but it's not the same for a woman. You want to go into the bush to do whatever it is you want to do. But it's not the same for a woman, because I'm thinking about, I can't be safe, or something else could happen to me. And yeah, that's how it just happened. I intended to pursue, because I am a trained biochemist, and I just wanted to go into the field of research. But then I stumbled, fortunately for me, I got introduced to a team from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine who were carrying out research in communities. And we did research about people's behavior towards certain basic hygiene practices. And I then saw, like, this thing is not just one thing. It's a whole lot around water. It's a whole lot around sanitation. It's a whole lot around hygiene. And that became a defining moment for me. And it's made me go into a career of behavior change communication, or becoming more interested in behavior change communication and how it relates to water, sanitation, and hygiene. And yeah, I then went ahead to pursue that for about 10 years of my life, making community or championing open defecation free communities, menstrual hygiene management, education, access to, at least basic water supply, boreholes for several communities in Nigeria. And yeah, that's how the journey started. So it was more of an internal trigger for me first, because of the experiences I had growing up, and then becoming aware that these experiences were not supposed to be normal. So I just then took it up. If somebody is not going to talk about it, then I should talk about it and get more people together to join me to talk about it. And yeah, that's how it's been for me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Bolu. Thank you for those powerful reflections. It's inspiring to see how different experiences can lead to the same commitment to water sustainability. I got some key takeaways, like local water challenges demand global attention. I also saw that water is life, but it's also a vehicle for diseases and lost opportunities. So moving forward, or building on that, this question is for Dr. Boluwaji. I hope I pronounced that well. How can policies and institutions better address the realities women face, removing structural barriers, and to move from inclusion to truly centering women in water solution? How can policies and institutions better address the realities women face?
Okay.
Dr. Bolu, yes.
Thank you very much. Firstly, I would say that evidence is so important. Just as Dr. Amarachi, was talking about the science, evidence is very, very important. So that's the first thing, generating the evidence. We as youth, women, the sector, ensuring that the evidence that is there is not just sitting as reports on the shelf. The network that I lead, the network of female professionals in WASH in Nigeria, we have the slogan, stronger together. So it is youth, it is women, it is people living with disabilities, and the sector saying, here's evidence. For example, the Network of Female Professionals, Wash Matter Initiatives, carried out a national study over 40 institutions in the water sector, including the Federal Ministry of Water Resources, and found that there is a 67% gender disparity, to the disfavor of women. And we found that actually right from, the entry level, there is a disparity. And it widens, till you get to the executive level. So that gap widens, and there's something that must be done. So I'll just stop there and mention that that's the first thing. Look at evidence and come up with, the policies, the action plans, and the monitoring tools to track. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bolu. That was very interesting. I'd also like to ask Dr. Amarachi, how can mentorship, safe platforms, and intentional support systems empower young women to confidently step into leadership in the water sector?
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for that question. Yeah, first of all, when you talk about mentorship, for me, from my own understanding, because I've been mentored, in fact, I'm still receiving mentorship, but I believe that mentorship becomes powerful when it moves from the normal encouragement to intentional support, meaning that if you want to mentor someone, it should just move, it should not just be only encouragement, it should be an intentional support to help someone grow. So, and for me, every young woman or people who are here, even youngsters, whether man or woman, you need mentors who can do, for me, what I can say, three things for you. They may not be there, but from my own perspective, that is what I've always placed in the forefront. So if you are seeking for a mentorship, you should seek for someone who can teach or guide you with some skills. When I mean skills, it may not necessarily be the normal skills that we know. There are different skills. Presentation is a skill. Being confident is a skill. Communication is a skill, right? So if you need young women, we need someone who can be able to teach us skills, then tell you the truth kindly, and provide direction when choices feel confusing. Because as you're moving in ladder in life, sometimes some decisions you want to make might need you to, like you feel you'll be confused because you don't even know what to do at that point in time. So that is where mentorship comes in. So that mentor should be able to provide or give you a guidance or suggest who or how you can be able to forge ahead with your intended plans. So like, okay, you talked about safe platforms. I know that many women or many young women have ideas, but they hesitate because they fear being dismissed or even interrupted or judged unfairly. So I think that safe platforms should be spaces where women can speak freely, where they can grow equity and lead without intimidation, whether it's at school, whether it's at work, or whether it's in any research field. And talking about intentional support systems, so support might include some opportunities, not only motivation, that can give young women visibility. For example, you can invite them to speak, you can nominate them for different committees in their places of work, you can recommend them for fellowships, you can trust them with leadership tasks early. So from my own experience, my international exposure helped my confidence. So when you are trained and engaged globally, you learn to speak clearly. You can sit at tables with senior experts and represent your work with so much authority. So I want that same confidence for young women, not just confidence as a noise, but confidence as competence. Yeah, I think I will stop here. So they should build on being confident as a competence is a skill. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, that's yeah, not just confidence as noise. It's really good because you don't just want to show up and you will be all over the place, but actually be there to make some good impact. Yeah. And then from what Dr. Bolu was saying, 67% is quite wide already. And I don't think it's something that before it can get narrower than that, it's going to take a while, except to do something really good. So I'd just like to ask Boluwati too, what policy shifts or action are needed today to ensure that we close that 67% gender disparity? And what do you think is the future for women that are fully empowered in the water sector?
Really lovely questions. So for me, with regards to the policies, I know that there are, over time from the past, we've been advocating for, policy change, and we've had some reasonable policy, but there needs to be a mindset shift, because even when these policies are created, implementing them becomes a challenge. It just feels like it's something on paper and we're not moving from the document to.
Hello. We can hear you now.
Okay, great. So I think we need to move from just thinking about formulation of new policies to actually implementing the ones that have already been set out. For example, we've talked about including women in certain living certain quotas for women in leadership in the water sector. And we're still having conversations about implementing at very minute levels. However, I also would like to say that a lot of these realities, are also on us as the people who are burdened with this. I'm trying to use the right words. Burdened with this reality. It seems like we've come to accept a lot of things, and right now, the way things are, if you are okay, or if it seems like you are okay where you are, nobody is going to hand out anything to you, right? I've seen this with the little span of my career over and over again. You have to, be confident, like Amarachi said earlier, and take actual steps. Those steps would be uncomfortable, but if you're not uncomfortable, we would not make any progress. So women need to build the confidence and find a support system to guide them into, taking up these leverages that they've been provided. So, but one of the policies that I always want to champion or fight for is access to more training for women in the water sector. A lot of the okay, I just wanted to
Yeah, we're with you.
Okay, so a lot of the a lot of the trainings for to become professional in the water sector is very expensive. And I'm saying this from experience because, like I mentioned at the beginning, I wasn't a trained water professional, but I had to, try to find access to formal trainings to, in quotes, professionalize my career, so to speak, because even if you've had or if you've gotten knowledge through experience, through learning from people who are very skilled or who are experts, you find out that when you get to certain places, there is still this sort of discrimination. Oh, you are not trained, all those kind of things. So, but these trainings are expensive, they're not cheap. So we need access to more education for women, and we need to be able to, have as much trained women as possible, so that once we are climbing certain levels in the career, on our career path in the water sector, we'll be able to still have the level of expertise needed to match at those various levels, right? Then the second aspect to your question, could you please remind me? I think it was two parts to the question. There was the policy one, and then there was
Yeah, and
one other.
then when women are empowered, what do we hope to gain in the water sector?
Oh man, I mean, just look at the people on your panel, for example, right? When a woman is empowered, there's no limit, and they are the ones that truly, truly care about change at heart. No offense to you guys, but we are when we feel for lack of a better term, passionate about something, we really take it all the way. Dr. Bulu, for example, I know a lot of the great work she has done over the years, and she's still at it. And I don't think she has any plans to, in quotes, retire the way it's, usually said. Because, I mean, where will all that knowledge go to? We have to keep giving it back, and we have to keep doing great work. And I mean, empowered women in this sector would take things far, a whole lot. I attended the UN Conference on Water in I can't remember, 2 years, no, in 2022, no, 2023, I think. Yeah, 2023. And it was funny because these sessions I spoke at, I was the only young woman in the room. And it was shocking to me because the meeting, the time that meeting had happened, the time that meeting happened last, I wasn't even born yet. And we're still there talking about the same issues. How many years later? Trust me, if it was women that were in the room when that last conversation was had before 2023, a whole lot of progress would have happened. So, I mean, we cannot overemphasize the power that women would bring if they are, empowered and in the water sector. We would make more rapid progress. So we need to create more room for women to be at the table. Not create, in fact, let's not talk about creating room right now, because we should just, like Dr. Onobolu said, we are still thinking about giving. It's as if women are not giving things, they can't, get the things. We need to just, and that's why I'm so, I can go on and on. I'm so passionate about this. And I tell every young woman that I meet, don't wait for it to be given to you. Look at someone who you want to mirror, who you admire. And, like Amarachi said, get the right mentorship. And sometimes, to be fair, sometimes you might not get direct access because you might not be able to get direct access. But there are people who mentor others by proxy. You look at the way they live their lives, the things they do, and you look at how you can mirror them and, try to, there was something I was doing sometimes. I go on LinkedIn and I look at women who are doing really well in their career. I go to their page and look at the trainings that they've done. And I try to see, oh, can I afford to do this training? Or can I check for a free version? Because knowledge is also something that we need to have for us to be taken seriously. We need to have these skills. We need to know our onions. We need to speak at places and people recognize that this person knows what they are doing. They are not just here because, oh, there is a quota for women, right? So let me just stop here for now before I go on and on and leave.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Bolu. One key takeaway here is we should be confident and then we should take actual steps, even though some of those steps may look uncomfortable. So thank you so much. We are pressed for time. We still have so many questions, but we just have to stop here. Thank you to our incredible panelists for sharing your journeys, your insights, and your vision for a more inclusive water future. Today's conversation reminds us that empowering women in water governance is not just about gender equality. It's about building stronger, more resilient communities. It's about mentorship. So let us continue to create spaces where women's voices are heard, leadership and solutions shape the future of water across Africa. But before we close, I would like us to do one quick thing, maybe in one word. Can our panelists just define the power of women in leadership just in one word, and then we are done with this session. Thank you so much. So, Dr. Marachi.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I'm not going to take time. Trust me. So, in one word, I'll say the what defines woman power of women in leadership is transformative. I just want to define it, transformative, because when women lead, they do not only manage systems, they change the outcomes and shift culture and can build futures. So that's why I just say transformative. So women in power, transformative. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Mrs. Bolu Awe.
Yes, so I'm going to speak of it from the personality themselves. I'm going to say resilient because women in leadership are resilient because apart from the challenges that every other person or every man would have on those positions where they are, they also have to deal with other issues because they are women. We've seen it happen a lot of times where when a man is affirmative, they say, oh, he's a good leader, he's strong, he's capable. But when it's a woman, they'll say, oh, she has hormonal issues, she's this, she's too cranky, she's but yes, so for every young lady listening and for everybody who is also on the call, please make sure that you train, like Amarachi said, acquire skills, but not just hard skills, soft skills as well. Know that things are not, whatever people say is not a reflection of you, but a reflection of their own thinking, right? So train your mind to see things and get a quick recovery period. It's okay to feel bad and to be let down sometimes when you're doing what you're doing, but know that reaching the top is very challenging. I'm sure that Amarachi and Dr. Nobolu can attest to it. I know that I've encountered it in this little course of my life. So please, I just wanted to add in, be resilient, don't give up. When it feels like you want to give up, dust yourself up and try again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And finally, Dr. Boluwaji Onabolu.
I'd like to just use the word catalyst because an empowered woman initiates change, sparks progress, and drives transformation towards the desired change. So that's the word for me, catalyst. I want us to bear in mind that oftentimes it's not something an individual can do alone, because there are structural and systemic barriers, which is why it's really important to be part, of a network, of a fellowship, of like-minded individuals. So I'm asking every woman on this call, and I'm speaking particularly, I think, to the executive committee members, that come and join the network of female professionals in WASH in Nigeria, and let's drive change together, catalyzing the change. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all our incredible panelists. We hope that when we call you again, you'll always be willing to join us and share your insights and your experiences. Thank you. Mr. Timothy, over to you.
Mr. Timothy is not on the call currently. I think he has a network issue, so you could continue with it.
Okay. But I would like a response to my invitation and some kind of structural, way forward around that.
Okay, that's nice. Maybe if we can have a link or where we can join, that would be nice. I was going to follow up on that after the call.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Okay, we're already so pressed for time. I would like to hand over to our president, Mr. Kabir Atobatele, for his vote of thanks.
All right, thank you, Amara. Thank you, Cynthia. I'm already mixing Dr. Amarachi with Cynthia because they are both wonderful women. All right, thank you so much, everyone, for joining this call. It's really an amazing time having you all in this conversation. I'm speaking on behalf of the Nigerian Youth Parliament for Water. That we sincerely appreciate your presence and your valuable insights to this discussion. Just like one of our moderators have said earlier, this is always an ongoing conversation. Just 1 hour will not be enough for us to round up this conversation, but it's always an ongoing one. I hope whenever we have the opportunity to call on our dear speakers, I hope they would be willing to join us again. Yeah, I'm sure. Thank you so much. And my colleagues who have put up this engagement, starting from the vice president to my head of communication, head of partnership, and head of membership and outreach, which they have listed their name earlier. They are all wonderful people who have made this session an amazing one. And I really appreciate them. And this is not just the beginning. We are still putting up more of this kind of conversation. And I'm sure we would always welcome every one of us here again, and our audiences who have created their wonderful time out of, Sunday has ought to be a resting day, but they add this as part of their resting engagement, to have this conversation to light up the engagement and make this a wonderful one. I really appreciate every one of us who have created their time to join this meeting or this session, and it's really a pleasure having you all. I'm seeing great faces that I've seen for a very long time, and now it's really a pleasure to seeing these faces again. I know I've met Dr. Oluwaji somewhere. That we've had some conversation. Oluwatito, who has been a very great support for us, and Dr. Amarachi too, who has always been a very great support. And everyone who has joined this session, I am sure we have picked up 1 or 2 lessons and 1 or 2 things was inspires us to do more of what we have been doing. Because I was listening to the wrap up message, which we have each of the speakers, to table down one keyword, to spark up the audience intelligence. And I'm hearing transformative, I'm hearing resilience, and I'm hearing catalyst. And I'm sure these are words that truly define our audience who are here today. And just like Dr. Obuluwaji has said, our network has to be attached to a very strong body to ensure we keep this spark from us all time, progress and for our desired values in this space. So I don't want to start another um, another discussion. So I'll be glad to round up this by appreciating everyone who have been in this discussion, and I'm glad for us that we have gained a lot, and I really appreciate us. And just like I said earlier, I hope whenever we put up a call or a message to us sometimes later to have you in this discussion, I hope you would always welcome our invitation. Thank you so much once again, and we really appreciate your presence here. Thank you. Over to you, Cynthia.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Kabir. I would like to hand over to Mrs. Opeyemi for our post-event activities and the way forward. Thank you. Ms. Opeyemi.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cynthia. And I also thank everybody on the call. Thank you all for joining today. We appreciate you, and we also appreciate our panelists for sharing their insights and experiences on the very important link between gender and water. So as we reflect on today's conversation, and we're also celebrating International Women's Day this very month of March, which is March 22nd. We want to encourage everyone to continue this conversation beyond today. And currently, in view of that, we have an essay competition, which is mainly for those in primary school or junior secondary school. This is an opportunity for them to also raise their voice and inspire change in their community as it relates to water and gender. And this is also a platform for them to suggest innovative and realistic solutions. So we have a flyer for that, and it will be sent across groups. It will be sent across our major groups, Twitter and other social media handles. And also for the International World Waters Day, we'll be hosting a webinar, which is coming up on the 22nd of March. And we look forward to having you in our midst as we explore another important conversation. So thank you very much for our panelists. Thank you everyone for joining us. And also thank you to Mr. Kabir, Dr. Cynthia, Mr. Timothy, Mr. Duramo. Thank you very much. We appreciate you, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much, Ms. Opeyemi, and thank you all for being part of this important conversation. We look forward to having you again. Thank you, and happy International Women's Day to all of you amazing women. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye
you.
for
Enjoy the
now.
rest of
Well
the
done.
evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, bye.